All right, so we are going to be doing the Africa interactive worksheet. So we'll go here, maybe. To the number 4 thing on your list, Africa interactive worksheet. We're going to click on that PDF and we can open it with annotated Cami. So the first question says, what desert stretches across Namibia and Botswana in southern Africa? Okay, so we're going to need to get out our magazine and turn to page 8, or we can go to Junior Scholastic and log in. You can log in as a student and type in 6th grade NMS. That is the code. So then you can sign in. Once you sign in to 6th grade NMS, you will see this is the newest issue of Junior Scholastic. Well, we're not going to be working out of that one, so you'll go to all issues and click on the November 9th issue. Now, once you get to this point, you can open up presentation view. And then we're going to turn to page 8 where the map of Africa is shown. Okay, so now you've got the map of Africa. We've already answered questions 1 through 10 from the magazine. We did that earlier, but now we're going to be doing this interactive Africa worksheet. So it says, what desert stretches across Namibia and Botswana in southern Africa? So now I'm going to drag my presentation view right over to it. So we're going to look at this bigger. And since we're going in the southern part of Africa, we don't want to look up here to the north. We want to go down here to the south. And we're going to find the countries of, let me erase this. We're going to find the countries of Botswana and Namibia. So there we are. All right, now what you were supposed to do, if we go back to the thing, it says, what desert? So you got to name the desert that stretches across these two countries in southern Africa. So name that desert. There is a desert there. It has a first and a last name. So make sure you capitalize both the first and the last name. Not the entire name, just the first letter in both. All right, let's go to number 2 on the list. It says, what large island country? So we're looking for an island country that sits off the coast of Mozambique in the southeast Africa. So southeast, going back to, zoom out. We're going to go back to the map of Africa. And if we look at Africa, and we split it like this, this would be north, south, east, west. So southeast is in this region here. Okay. All right. So in this region here, we're looking for the island country that is to the southeast of Mozambique. So here's Mozambique. Find the island country. And since it's a country name, you're going to capitalize the beginning letter in that country's name. All right. Let's go to the next one. It says, which city is located at 16 degrees north, 33 degrees east? Okay, so the way we always do this is we find the equator, which is right here. And if it's above this equator line, it's labeled north. If it's below it, it's labeled south. So we're going to have to go above this line. And it says 16 degrees north. So I know that it comes between the 20 degrees north line and the 10 degrees north line. Okay, so I know it's in between those two lines. I can draw a line all the way across at like the midpoint of this, and that way I know where the 15-degree line is. It'd be better if I had a nice straight edge or a magazine that I could do this. So I could draw a line at the 15-degree line. Now, if I do that, I know that it's going to be a little bit higher than that, so I could actually go in and draw another line just above it to show me where 16 is. And if I just follow along, oops, it'd be good if I stay above it. So anyway, you could go all the way across here like this. And then the next set of coordinates, or the next part of this coordinate, is 33 degrees east. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to find the prime meridian. Anything to this side of the prime meridian is labeled west. Anything this side of the prime meridian is labeled east. And what did we say? 33 degrees east? Yes, so I'm going to go in between this line of latitude or longitude and this line of longitude. So 33, and here's 35 would be the halfway point. I like to come down here about halfway in the middle, because when you're talking about longitude lines, they get closer and closer together as they get closer to the poles, but the further they get away from the poles to the equator, they get wider and wider apart. So I like to actually come down here and put my mark in. Now, with parallel lines or latitude lines, you're not going to have that. They never get closer together or further apart. So latitude lines, it's not the same. Longitude lines, they do. So I like to actually come down here and put my lines in. So now you are naming the city that is at 33 degrees east and 16 degrees north. So name the city. And remember, cities are either dots or dots with stars in them. Okay, let's go to the next one. I should erase these as I get them done. So that one can be erased. All right, it says, what are the literacy rates for males and females in Egypt and Sierra Leone? So what we're going to do is, we can't find that information on this map. So we'll have to go to the almanac. So Egypt, let's zoom out a little bit. It wasn't on that first page because it went from Algeria to Chad, I think. Yeah, Algeria to Chad. So I know that Egypt is right here, and then Sierra Leone is right there. But let's figure out where is the literacy rate. So let's go back to the beginning of the magazine, and it shows you all the information and how to read this table. So when we look at this, we find literacy rate, which is this information right here. And it says the percent of people who can read and write. That's what a literacy rate means. And then they give you the male to female percentages of literacy. So in Russia, according to this, there's 99% of the males in Russia that can read and write, and 99% of the female population in Russia that can read and write. According to this, I find that kind of hard to believe because it's a high percentage, but it could be true. So when we look across the table, we're going to look at literacy rate. Underneath it's life expectancy. So we will be using that, but not this time. So now we're going back into Africa, and we are going to look at, what do we say, Egypt. So we're going to look at Egypt's literacy rate. Here's Egypt. And then we look at literacy rate is right here. So the male percentage is here, and then the female percentage is here. So on this question, you would write Egypt's literacy rate for males is this, and for females, it's this. And you can write a little percentage sign. So you've got a sentence that tells the literacy rate for males and females in Egypt, and then you'll have another sentence that tells the literacy rate for males and females in Sierra Leone. So let's go literacy rates here, Sierra Leone, right there. So So remember, the first number is males, the second number is females. So you'd say in Sierra Leone, this percentage of males can read and write or have a high literacy rate, and this percentage of females can read and write. So there's your other sentence. Now this has got two parts to this question. It says, from that information, what can you infer about the education system in the two countries? Okay, so now we're here and we're looking at Egypt is there, Sierra Leone is here. So if 77 and 66 is the percentage of people that can read in Egypt, and 52 and 40 is the percentage of people that can read in Sierra Leone, you could infer this, that one of them would have a better education system than the other. So that's what you need to write. You could say that name the country has a better education system than name the other country, according to the literacy rates. And that way you could explain how you came up with that conclusion. All right, let's go to the next question. It says, which two rivers meet in Sudan and to form the Nile? And then which country does each river begin? So first of all, you have to come up with the two rivers that meet in Sudan. Name those two rivers. And remember, rivers get a capital letter in their name, first and last names. Sometimes they have a middle name. And then, and it says, in which country does each river begin? So we're going to go back to the map. We're going to find Sudan, and it is right here. So now, looks like two rivers right here form the Nile. So name those two rivers. And remember to capitalize. Then follow those rivers back and tell where they begin, what countries. So name a river, use this in a sentence that, name the river and say begins in, and then name the country, period. And then name the other river and then begins in, and then name that country. Remember when we worked with the other junior Scholastic magazines when we were talking about the dam being built and all that? This will help you out in finding out what country one of those rivers begin. Okay, so this is actually worth 4 points right there. This next one says, what was Eswatini's former name? So we're going to go back to the almanac and find Eswatini. Oh, look here. See that number 6 that's right there? That means that there is something down here on the bottom of the page, and you're going to look for that number 6, and it's right there. Now it tells you what it used to be called. If you're formerly known as something, that's what you used to be called. So that's pretty easy to do. Just look at the fine print down at the bottom of that page, and you should be able to say what Eswatini's name used to be. Okay, let's go to the next question. It says, what is the approximate latitude and longitude of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania? So this is just a big name for a place. It's one place on the world, so it's in Tanzania as the country. So we're going to go back to the map, find Tanzania, which is right here, Tanzania, and we're going to tell what this spot right here, where that would be in the world. So we're going to use our map skills to figure this out. We know it's going to come between these two latitude lines, the 0 degree and the 10 degrees south. So we know that it's below the equator, so we know it's going to be degrees south. Halfway between that point would be what, 5? So it's not halfway, but it's between 5 and 10. So come up with a number between 5 and 10. It's probably closer to 5 than it is 10. And put degrees and then an S or an N, depending on what it deserves. And you should know this. So then put a comma after that. We always do latitude first, and then now we're going to do longitude. We know it's really close to this line here. See this line right here? So we're going to follow this line up. I might want to use yellow to mark it. I'm going to follow this line up. And it's in between this line and this line. So I'm going to look up here and see what they are. It looks like 30 degrees with an E, so it's east of the prime meridian. 40 degrees east. Halfway between, I would go down in here. Remember I said that they get wider and then they get closer together. So I would go right in between here. And then between 30 and 40, it'd be 35. So this would be 35 right here. So now we know it's between 35 and 40. It's very close to 40, but it doesn't go over 40. And then you'd label it degrees, either W or E, depending on its east or west of the prime meridian. So those are your coordinates. Let's go to the next one. It says, what political system and who is the head of government in Senegal? Okay, so we're going to go back to that almanac and we're going to look up Senegal. Senegal is right here. Okay, so now we're going to look up the head of government. So if we go to the top, political head of government right here. So what type of government does it have is right there. And then the head of government is in that same column. So just write that down and you should get that. Then it says, what might the country's political system suggest about its citizens' level of freedom to choose their leaders? Well, if you think about the United States, it's called a democracy. So this one has presidential parliamentary democracy. So how do we choose our leaders in the United States? So that's just a hint on what you can say about this type of government and then the citizens' rights in that type of government. All right, let's go to the next one. Next one says, which countries border Togo or Togo? So we're going to go back to the presentation view. We're going to go over to the map. We're going to find this place. It's in this, it's in this area right here, and it's a little country, and it's got 3 bordering countries. You got to name all 3 of those countries. Let's go to the last one. The last one says, which countries have 1960 as their date of origin? Now look out, because you're going to be writing a decent amount here. There are 17 countries that have 1960 as their date of origin. So you'll go to the presentation view. You'll start on the first page, because these are all part of Africa. And you are going to look at each of the dates of origin right here and see 1960. Well, that one's not. Okay, so this one is. So this is the first one you're going to name. And you're just going to keep going down. Oh, there's another one. Keep going down until you get all 17. Now, this isn't the only page you're looking at. You're actually looking at both of these pages. So name all of the countries that has 1960 as their date of origin. So you can just look for that and then write the country's name. Now, after that, it asks you 2 more parts here. It says, what are the 2 main European languages spoken in those countries? So every time you circle one of these and you write down the name of the country, also look at the languages. See which 2 that you see the most, and then write those down. And then lastly, it says, what can you infer from these 2 facts? So whenever you find out what 2 countries from Europe are mainly seen in 1960 as the date of origin, you can infer something to do with these 2 countries dealing with Africa. So that gives you a little bit of a hint. You might see a little more of a hint on your Edge Elastic whenever you're supposed to actually upload this. You can always do part of your Edge Elastic and then do more as you get on there. So if you want to go ahead and look at that last question, you could, in order to look at this third part. So there are actually 3 parts of this. You got to name all 17 of the countries that have an origin date of 1960. Then you got to name the 2 European languages that you see the most in those countries. And then at the end there, you're going to say, what can you infer about these countries that are in Africa that speak these European languages? Do the best you can on this, and good luck. Upload this to Edulastic.